Hello, everybody. You can call me Hunch. I'm eating a little bit of Asian food, a little boba tea, black milk tea. If you've never tried it, get on that grind. It's Mr. Tubbs, Mr. Tyrone. I don't know if you guys can see, but I drew those mountains. That's pretty lit. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about game theory, how it's playing out, how Bitcoin is going to benefit, how the dominoes keep falling, and what it is exactly, right? And why I think Bitcoin can't be stopped at this point, right? Okay, so a while back, Edward Snowden, everyone knows Edward Snowden, the guy who's exiled in Russia because of leaks with the federal government, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can research him. He said Edward Snowden, global Bitcoin game theory to begin playing out. So what does this mean, right? For Bitcoin, that means today Bitcoin was formally recognized as legal tender in its first country. Beyond the headlines, there is now pressures on competing nations to acquire Bitcoin, even if only as a reserve asset, as it is designed to massively incentivize early adoption. Right? So what does that mean? The players who get into Bitcoin early, like El Salvador, and if it succeeds, will have a massive advantage for entrepreneurs coming to their country, for wealth, for growing that wealth faster than other countries, right? So even if countries don't believe in Bitcoin, right? Some people in the United States, some countries, tyrannical countries in the Middle East or wherever, the European Bank, even if they don't believe in it and they hate it and they despise it, they have to acquire it, because if the market chooses, the market forces chooses Bitcoin, or then they will be at a significant disadvantage and their quality of life will diminish rapidly against those other countries. For example, the United States has enjoyed rapid growth in their quality of life because of the adoption of the US dollar. And the countries that adopted the US dollar quicker than others had an advantage, right? Now, how does this relate to marijuana, right? If you think about the history of marijuana, how it was outlawed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? You can look at the timeline from when it was legalized to when each state started falling, right? California was first, and Colorado, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? There's all these different timelines here, right? And the ones that started early have established industries, right? They have farms, they've got infrastructure, they've got brand, right? For example, the early movers on like a Snoop Dogg weed, like that brand can grow rapidly and have a significant advantage against other brands that come in late. It doesn't mean it's going to be the top brand, et cetera, the top state, right? But the people who get started early, like Bitcoin, right, versus other cryptos, have a significant advantage. So now in terms of Bitcoin, right, you see El Salvador started, Arizona, right? And if this is real, this is insane. Like, this should be making headlines of every news media outlet out there, but we know that they're sort of corrupt and don't like to report on real news, right? That they introduced a bill, Arizona, to make Bitcoin legal, right? So what does that do? It increases demand for Bitcoin. It further plays into the game theory of Bitcoin, right? If these states are competing for talent, for capital, for industry, right? The ones that get started early, those businesses start there. They get, they establish themselves, and then the money flows down to everybody in the state, right? This is true for any industry, right? This is why states make tax incentives for certain industries, whether that's engineering or finance, marijuana, etc., right? And then you can see this from every professional, right? They don't say game theory, but this is a form of game theory that Will Clemente writes about. IMF worried other countries will follow El Salvador, quite bullish that they take Bitcoin that seriously, and are worried about the domino effect of nation state adoption, right? He does not say game theory, but that is game theory, right? People are going to be forced to either act and benefit or not act and live in this delusional world, and then their quality of life and how their citizens are affected will continue to diminish, right? So this is how capitalism works, market forces works. You can't force people directly, but through money, you get outcomes, right? That's why I'm such a big proponent of Bitcoin and not others, because our energy should be spent trying to take out the extremists from government, take out the extreme behaviors through incentive, through Bitcoin, right? Now, what do I think is going to happen with Bitcoin? I think the hodlers are strong. There just needs to be a spark in demand. And if this goes through in Arizona, or we get a spot ETF, or whatever it is, there will be a spark that sets off FOMO, right? So just pay attention. Why would you sell your Bitcoin when game theory is playing out? If you sold your Bitcoin out of fear, you have very limited capacity to think about how things work, right? It's like you have to only change your mind when things start going the opposite direction, right? If El Salvador decided against Bitcoin, holders started dropping off a cliff, hash rate started dropping off a cliff, then those would indicate to go the other direction, right? Now, this is simple fundamental analysis you need to be thinking about and ignoring the price, right? I'm not a financial advisor. Do whatever you want. But this is easy. This is like, the light is at the end of the tunnel and you're walking the opposite direction, right? So anyway, this is my update on Bitcoin, what I think is going to happen, game theory, how it's related to marijuana. Remember, market forces make the next and the next and the next and the next fall like dominoes. You can call me Hunch. I'm all in, baby. Not financial advice. We're good looking. You're good looking. Baby, are we good looking? Have a great day.